Love is patient, love is kind. When I was 20, I got my first job down at KFC. I only really did it for the pocket money. I didn't really like the idea of coming home smelling in grease. But when I started on that Friday morning, this Sandy caught the eye of one Danny. And man, he did everything to grab my attention. He'd leave his frying station to help me bag my buckets. He'd help me clean the toilet even though his shift had ended. My manager got real mad though. He'd be like, boy, won't you leave that girl to breathe? Love trusts, it does not envy. Over time, he asked me to be his wifey. And I was impressed because he was into music and movies like I is. I was like, yeah, B. This Kevin stole my heart naturally. Over time, we moved in together. We had 2 kids over 3 years. He always promised that he'd marry me. But to this day, I guess he just got real busy. He says I was not to use the phone after 3 because he wanted me to focus on the kids, focus on the cleaning. He'd hide my bus ticket. Says I was not to leave the premises because I was his black china and he didn't want me getting all dirty. I was starting to realize that this Nicholas was trying to cage me and that all this Jermaine wanted to do was depree me. Love does not boast, it is not proud. Over time, he asked me to stop working. I was getting paid more than him. I didn't mind though, but he thought I wouldn't keep it a secret. Told everybody he was the breadwinner. But this Ed was never sharing. He wouldn't even bring bread home for the kids' breakfast. It was always a war between me and him because he didn't give a hovis. He had a tiny temper. Break anything that he could at all. This Sean was always breaking combs. And he was big, I was small, it was a losing battle. And it normally happened after 3, so I couldn't give my sister a call. Love is not self-seeking. There'd be nights when he knew that I was too tired to do any cooking. He'd come home with takeaway. Said he'd rather give it to our puppy, Bruno. Mars was no longer falling for this Venus. And even at 21, he was still savage. He'd come home drunk on wine or what he liked to call vin. Diesel wasn't in his tank at all. And he'd come home smelling a perfume that had nothing to do with me at all. And felt no way for his kids to be inhaling perfume that he'd smoke around their lungs that were just so small. Love is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Discipline was no longer about the kids. He went from hitting Reese with a spoon to putting me in timeout because I was running my mouth. Says I wasn't ironing his pants well enough and I was doing it on purpose. He laughed whenever I was crying, so I found myself fighting it. He'd always accuse me of lying, so I found myself believing it. I found myself apologizing. Wouldn't you do anything to hold on to the one that you once thought was perfect? Because people can change. And if I left, my kids needed a family. I mean, how could I be so selfish? But it wasn't until he hospitalized me that I realized that perfect love has no fear in it. And that he was a tiger and it was time for us to go far, far away from him. He didn't even come and visit, so it made it a lot more easy. My sister found out about it, and she had Taylor picked up from school swiftly. And even though it was a Friday, it was still the weekend for my star boy, so he was already with me. I realized that this George just did not have a Clooney. And that the most this beast could have done for this beauty since meeting me at KFC was giving me a good fingers licking. Thank you.